We're back at the EGF Power Series, Prelim 2 for Valorant, and my name's Wes Rambo, and I have not literally changed my hat, but figuratively I have. I'm going to be going on play-by-play, and I'm joined now by Worst over here. A larger brain has entered the server, and Worst, we got Sac State up against Washington State. We had a little switcheroo on the schedule, so St. John's gets a bit of a break, but what do you think of this matchup coming up so far? We got Ascent as the map.
I think it's gonna be interesting. I think it's been a really big turnaround here in this prelim so far for these teams. It has been very close between Sacramento and Washington, Sacramento and St. John's
Mm-hmm.
before, and then St. John's and Washington was very close as well. So the group stages have been very competitive so far. I love to see that. Not even heading into playoffs, into like a final bracket yet, and we're already seeing very competitive matchups. And we're going to be going to a map that Sacramento already has some time on in the server today, as they played against St. John's earlier. They did end up taking that 13-7, so it seems like
Mm-hmm.
it's a map they're comfortable on. So it could be interesting to see that we did get the Ascent picked up here for Sacramento. This could be some map that they are very comfortable on, because they did end up losing 13-11 to St. John's on Breeze, which is a
Right.
very different map. So
Choose your agent.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, Sacramento going to be happy to head over to Ascent, and we have, of course, seen their composition on Ascent already as well. So we're expecting the KO, Killjoy, Jet, Sova, Astra coming through here. We heard that interview as well with Crimson after their second map there, where they were talking about the Astra and talking about how even with the nerf, even with the sort of meta shift, they're still happy to use Astra. They're not the only ones, of course. It is, there are a number of teams at the competitive level who are still happy to use Astra, in particular on Ascent, because of those choke points at both spike sites, right? Getting into from A main in particular or from B main is so difficult when that gravity well is set up. So that's what we kind of are expecting to see, as you say, that 13-7 victory, giving Sac State potentially some sort of confidence going in here against Washington.
yeah, I think the biggest thing for how Astra has changed, I don't think it's like the pick is completely useless. I still think it has its place, right? But I think it's much more punishing to play that Astra and making
Yeah.
mistakes on the Astra. Previously, if you made a mistake on your star placement, maybe your timings were a little bit off on Astra, it didn't quite matter. You had the cooldowns to get them back up. You had the time on the stars when you pulled them back. There wasn't as much punishment for it. So now you have to have very disciplined, very strategic Astra play from the very beginning of the round. Because if you misplace those stars, even in like buy phase or right after buy phase ends, you don't have those stars for a very long time, and that's kind of the difference maker. That's why people have been going over to this Omen, this pick that has a lot of kind of individual playmaking potential as well, with the one ways you can have. That was something that was kind of even demonstrated by Ascend and top tier play on Split. Was they just love just throwing in the Omen there. The one ways were immaculate on that map and allowed them to
Mm-hmm.
really get value from that place, even when it wasn't that strong of a pick. So gonna be this kind of older style coming out here from Sacramento versus the newer controller in Omen, but still, I think something that has to be said for Washington State, still playing this Reyna despite KO's
Yeah.
recent buffs. That's the biggest issue for me.
Yeah, and yeah, this we talked about this before. I'll get to. There's another very important thing to note right here. I'll get to it in a moment. But yeah, we saw the KO come through. We saw that there is KO available for a lot of these teams, and of course, as you say, Ascent really favors that agent. The other thing to note is that some of these teams, of course, university teams, they've got more than 5-person lineups. And indeed, Loafmane has subbed in for Dinsky for this second map for Washington State on the day. So Loafmane going on to that Jet. They are running the double duelist, as you say, Reyna with Jet. Reyna is one agent that, if there's any map for Reyna, it is Ascent. You can really get a lot out of those stars and a lot out of kind of, putting a really good fragger on a very self-sufficient agent. I still would say I prefer the KO, but hey, it's clearly a comfort pick for Demetrius. He top fragged in the last map, so maybe we'll be proven wrong once again. But Sacramento State looking to go into their third map of the day. We'll see St. John's against Washington, the rematch after this, by the way. So we do head into the mid-round, and they head into the middle of the map for Washington.
We're going to see a fast cat play already coming out, trying to utilize this Reyna to get their way into tree. Going to get delayed by the gravity well, but that gravity well offline for a very long time. They're not going to be under pressure when they're going in. Typically, you want to save that for when the side exec is coming out to stall it out, or when the Jet dashes in, pause the backline. But right there, explosion onto the site, nothing can get shut down, and 2 picks already coming out for Washington State. This retake not looking amazing here for Sacramento.
3 versus 4 retake to come through. And yeah, you know, the post-plant positions have already been established here for Washington. They're able to get back out, but Sammy's already opened up. Sammy was popping off already on the day. Ree to try to trade. Sammy and Jason to combine. It's Sammy for another one. It's going to be a 1 versus 2 now for D-Bands, who was definitely doing his own kind of work with the classic. Not great from that range, and it's going to be Jason Ive. Sammy missing a couple, but Jason Ive going for the finish. And there we go. It's the individual play coming in, even with an advantageous setup on the post plant. Washington State still loses to those pistols, and Sacramento go up 1-0 on the defense.
Yeah, it was kind of well played by Washington to kind of explode on the site after that gravity well was expended. What made Astra so oppressive before is when you made those site execs, when your jet dashes in, the rest of the team can't follow up, and your jet kind of gets abandoned for that 3 seconds basically. But after it's used there in tree or on cat, they just explode on the site, take it off. But I mean, Sammy kind of gets those retake angles there, finds the headshots with the ghost, and then from there, the player in hell cannot hit those shots from long range with the classic. The RNG a little bit too immense right there. Now, looking for this next round, how do they want to play this anti-eco? It's going to be Kamugi finding that first pick off as a little sneaky play in mid. We saw that last round as well. Early there in the short, he got pushed out. This time, no recon dot to force them out. They're going to take that pick for free.
Yeah, keeping an eye on those aggressive defense side setups. Washington State and St. John's both utilizing that on Haven. Ascent, of course, you can already see how it could benefit them, especially on an anti-eco, like you say. Try to catch them off guard, try to put yourself in a great position and take care of these rounds. Something I always like to see, the fundamentals from teams. The push will come through. Washington State are considering B, but now we've got Sammy over here putting down utility, and that makes them back right off again. With 55 seconds left, Washington State are in no man's land.
Who is there to contest Kamugi here? You're going to have to get another dark cover. Going to get committed here from Ray into mid. That's, I believe, both of them that has been committed into mid. Taking this long-range classic duel, apparently. Going to able to kind of contest this Spectre. Not something you normally want to see.
Crimson didn't get a single point of damage there.
I mean, that was kind of wild, wasn't it?
The duel goes in favor of Demetrius for now, but still Washington State have really not gained much. They end up getting into A, but at a cost. Ree and D-Bands go down to the Spectre of Uzui. Demetrius to trade back, and it's a 2 versus 3 situation. They have the site in 17 seconds here. Worst, they might be able to do something, make something out of this as the plant goes down. Demetrius with more. Demetrius gets traded out, and there's Sammy to recover a round that they should have been winning all the time. But a nice attempt there by Washington State, and honestly a total success for them to get the plant and 3 kills there.
And Sammy's getting the lockdown off these first 2 rounds, but I mean that was dangerous. It was basically Demetrius just like trying to will that round into existence for their team, and it was not there at all. I mean, that classic duel in the beginning was quite odd. They explode up, find the full flash right click there, gets that Spectre, kind of takes over with Sammy. Kind of look towards Sammy again, despite being on that Killjoy role for this map, is kind of the pop-off player for the team. Not something you normally see for that Sentinel role, but Sammy has been doing it consistently today, so look forward for more of that, and finds the timing, finds the double kill, and shuts that down. But a very good eco round there for Washington State, and now how can they do on this bonus? It's kind of been this thing right now with economy. It's like, you should be winning these bonuses. It's a skill to win bonuses, right? Because you can get caught off guard. You have to have strats for bonus rounds. You can't just willy-nilly do it and try to do it with gun diff. That's not how it works.
And for Washington State, scuffed bonus indeed, at least it was. It looks like they've actually forced up instead of, or pardon me, for Sacramento, a very rough bonus with all that damage being done to their economy. But Crimson is here trying to defend, trying to delay as the rotators will come back. Gets a headshot on Loafmane, but that's all that's going to happen as Loafmane will proceed forward into the site. The spike will be planted over here at the double box, and it's a 4 versus 5 retake situation. You can see pistols in the hands. Demetrius already pushing out. Demetrius 1, 2, 3, and Kamugi finally trades it out, but Kamugi's not long for this world at this point. Sheriff left in hand, trying to get something as they peek around. Loafmane will be the better jet in that scenario, and yeah, they take care of that one. And like I said, Sacramento had a terrible bonus round in that situation. They were on pistols. A bunch of them had gone down. They hadn't made a lot of money. So now we finally get into the game proper. We get a gun round, and Kamugi goes right onto that operator.
And that's where you're seeing Demetrius' impact from last round play into this one. A lot safer of a bonus because they got rid of a lot of those Spectres off the table. But I think I want to look towards, does Demetrius still play this aggressive style? I mean, solo pushing into tree as doors closing behind them. They can't even dismiss out. they are just kind of forced to be there. If we see that again, there could have just been a sheriff shot to shut that down, given over a rifle, and that could have been a very scary situation. So we're gonna maybe have to check our aggressive focus.
Yeah, the aggressiveness does come through towards mid as they're pushing this operator. Kamugi, definitely after those op shots got through, Washington State takes that Q and gets right in his face. That's going to be a 5 versus 3 already for Washington State to start off. Crimson to go down as well, and Uzui kind of just trying to fight back as much as they can, but a 4 versus 1 situation as they head over towards the B site. Uzui is in mid, but there's just nothing they can do to help out their teammate here with 30 HP left and nowhere near the right position. Door is open, and Demetrius is going to fire some bullets through it. It's 4 players remaining for Washington State.
Yeah, gonna be pretty clean. I've been liking the kind of executes coming out from Washington. They're kind of playing for hitting weak sides. They're playing a little bit of an information game and then kind of exploding onto where they find some chinks in the armor, if you will. Right there, it was Kamuki over pushed in mid. We saw that already. The first 2 rounds, gonna get punished for it this time around. Paranoia comes through. They cannot see a dang thing. Don't even have the opportunity to dash. They're not in a great dash position. I want to see Kamugi not play that position because the dash angles from there are not very good.
Yeah, trying to catch somebody off guard, but Washington State completely had Kamugi's number in that situation, so well handled by them. Loafmane now coming out aggressive once again. Washington State on this entry. It's coming through from the shadows and taking down the player backside. Be Jason Ive going down, and Loafmane continuing to get aggressive up into the spawn area. So once again, it's an impossible retake situation. Now Crimson holding on to this Marshall. The only thing you can maybe do is try to find some sort of exit kill, and not going to happen with Demetrius continuing to pop off. They're making very, very good use of these 2 duelists here, Worst.
Yeah, and so far, these gun rounds have been going nothing but their favor. Obviously, a little bit of a worse buy there from Sacramento, but still, 3 rounds in a row. This could snowball into something catastrophic for Sacramento's defense right now. I mean, we said this might be a map they love to see. Beat St. John's on it earlier despite losing to them on Breeze. Seemed very comfortable in this map in that series. This might just be kind of too rough for them if this gets out of hand. Like, if we see 5 rounds, 6 rounds in a row from Washington State, it can be very hard to mentally come back from that. So we're gonna have to see some discipline here from Sacramento. How are they gonna adjust their defense? They're doing a lot more like short aggressive pressure here into B main. I'm not sure if that's exactly what's needed, but I mean, that shotgun's gonna find some nice value there.
Great damage there from the shock dart. Indeed, the timing is excellent, but the Killjoy ultimate will come down. Lockdown forces Jason Ive out of his main position. It still gets one with the fadeaway. Demetrius, a critical kill to go down there, but they still commit towards the B site. Obviously, lockdown still there. It's going to be, Dinsky trying to go forward on that Sova. It's Kamugi to trade out, and the 2 versus 3 situation here with Sammy getting more. It's now only going to be left. Man, those kills came faster than I could even be watching them, and Washington State is going to fall. So Sacramento equalized, and they needed that one for the economy right there.
And I think that was Washington State not just really kind of disrespecting what Sacramento can do there on that defense. They have rotations that can come in to support them. Even when the lockdown goes down, there's still so many angles they can watch that one choke point from. So that's why you don't really see a lot of time you're doing 5-stack pushes through B main. Typically, you're still going to have some mid presence, maybe even some A main presence, try to keep people over there, try to keep utility away from them, especially when the Astra has been committing a lot more of those stars over to A. So just kind of get some pressure over there, get some util maybe out over on the side of the map, and then deciding to end maybe in the mid to late round on a site. That's kind of what we're seeing a lot of the time these days. These fast 5-man pushes through B main can get shut down very easily.
Yeah, I have to apologize. At the beginning of the match, I actually said that it was Dinsky subbed out, but I was mistaken. It was Iffy who was subbed out. Loafmane coming in, Dinsky switching to the Sova, and Loafmane going on to the Jet. So just for posterity there. Loafmane, speaking of which, grabs a nice opener into Uzu here and gets a good amount of info on A site. Nobody playing there. It's Kamugi having to hide behind the blinds here, trying to find shots with the Blade Storm, but nothing doing. Demetrius will find that. Crimson finally ends up trading, but the damage is done here. Worse, they are well and truly onto this site. No command will come through, but Loafmane has a chance to shut this down right now. Will they be able to find anything? And yes, they will. Crimson is caught with the knife out right there, and Loafmane gets detained for his troubles, and the revive will come in as well. So we're gonna get into a 4 versus 3 situation. They can't punish Loafmane. The lockdown isn't in position. And in fact, Dinsky goes for the punish. Finally, Loafmane to go down. The kills continue to come through. The spike continues to tick down. Sammy has to get aggressive and misses the spray. It's only Jason Ive remaining. The Killjoy utility comes out, and Ree to finish it off. It's going to be 2 players remaining in Washington State. Bite back.
Yep, and I think kind of it might have been a bit dangerous there. Again, keep looking for when these post plants. Does Demetrius just kind of go into tree? And right there, it was one of the things, they go into tree, they get punished for it. And that leaves a situation where you want to have kind of the ability to have another angle on site to hold, or maybe a Lear to throw out, because that can be very disruptive. So keep looking towards that. I think that'll be a defining part of this map, is like, how aggressive is Demetrius going, and do they get punished for it? Like, sometimes it's 4K, sometimes it's 1K, but yeah.
Well, yeah, and you know, the strength of a play like that, right, is to surprise the defenders who are moving into retake positions. But if you're doing it every round, the element of surprise is gone. So here's an opener already. Speaking of the elements of surprise, there's Loafmane getting aggressive once again. That's Uzu not being able to handle the base, and Crimson spots ahead, but was spotted as well here in Wine. Crimson is backed into a corner right now. The flash out to try to get out, but Ree is spraying through. Demetrius finds one in mid as well. It's Jason Ive, and we've got pistols over on the side of Sacramento, so Jason Ive will go down. The flawless round for Washington State to get themselves to 5, and I thought Sacramento had enough money for guns, but it looks like they actually went for a more complete buy this round. So it's going to be Kamugi picking up that operator here. It's going to be full rifles, and look at the money for Washington State, Worst. It is such a good financial situation for them.
The power of the flawless is right. Don't have to spend 2,900 on a gun. You don't have to spend 1K on shields. It's so good for you. And we're going to see it again. Kamugi with this op, not going to be in mid right now. Going to actually be peeking out Cat. Are they ready for this? They have players on Cat ready to kind of peek out, but are they expecting the operator peek from Cat? I don't quite know. It's going to be interesting to see, where does this Silver Dart go? Where are they going to be looking for? It's going to go main, where Kamugi usually is. If they don't spot them there, are they expecting it? No, they don't, as Loafmane peeks right onto Kamugi's sights and gets taken out by the operator, and Kamugi wants more. They're not expecting the aggressive off play, and it takes out the other duelist on the side. Demetrius is gone, and now a 5v3. Credit to the operator.
There we go, and yeah, like you say, the prediction coming through. It was the push up Cat a number of times in a row for Washington State, and we just talked about this here. Those duelists, you need to get aggressive, but you can't be predictable about it. And in that case, Kamugi completely read them like a book. So it's D-Ban's actually trying to re-peek here, but Kamugi has not moved an inch, man. He is still here. There's the elbow spotted, not gonna hit that, not gonna hit Dinsky through the wall. D-Ban's, pardon me, who ends up taking space in mid instead, but it's Dinsky to find Jason Ive on a weird little timing there, but will they clear Sammy and Boathouse? Not a chance. Dinsky goes down. It's going to be Ree on site. Sammy and Ree have a ring around the rosy to play right here, and Ree has to deal with more players coming through. D-Bands has such a critical position here, Worst, but now with Ree going down, D-Bands is on mission impossible. Spots one barrel. There it is. Tries to peek for one. Kamugi with the 3K on the round, and Sacramento get back within 1.
Yeah, and now we want to look towards Kamugi. Where are they going to play this next round? You never want to get predictable with where your operator is going. You want to try and shift it up, because in a game, especially like Valorant, as compared to like CS and whatnot, like, there's a lot more utility that can hard force operators off of angles, like, very easily, right? There's things that go through walls, there's things that just like section, like so much smokes and so many flashes in this game. So you have to be very unpredictable with your operator placement, because that utility is going to be coming your way, and it's going to be straight up in your face trying to force you out. I think they're trying to just bypass the mid altogether. They're like, we don't even want any part of Kamugi. We're just going to go fast onto B, but the amount of Killjoy utility could shut that down. They don't have a KO to knife it.
Look at all those green circles on B, but they have left the area of the map open of players. And so if they find their way through all of this, it's a gauntlet of damage. And In fact, the teleport is used for Omen to get back. That's will be able to grab that plant, and they are all in sight right now. So can Demetrius find an advantageous position? It's better to leave one in B main if you can, because now they are trapped. A 5 versus 5 retake situation for Sacramento. How will they approach this right now? Kamugi has an operator, difficult gun to use in this situation. Cosmic Divide cuts off back sight though. Demetrius needs to find those shots. It's all about those aim duels, but Crimson already finds one. Demetrius with the trade, trades back for Crimson. Loafbane finding that, Loafbane finding more. Kamugi with the op kill. Here comes Sammy, gets taken down right away. It's Kamugi holding strong. They leave it in a 1 versus 1 with Dinsky here, ready to deny the defuse, and he does. What a crazy round. An absolute gladiator pit in B site.
Yeah, I mean, you just get over there and they're just brawling it out, and every which way there's aim duels going left, right, and center right there. And that's kind of what's going to happen when you 5-man force your way through B main. They didn't even leave someone in B main. That's kind of odd. I think typically you're going to have to want someone in that B main position, maybe looking up mid, because that diverts attention. It makes them play slower. When that spike is ticking down, the pressure is on that retaking team. And if there's some kind of threat, maybe there's someone B main, maybe there's someone coming up mid, it makes them slow down. It gives them less time to actually clear angles on site. So that could have been dangerous, not having those look. Like, I want to see someone up cat, maybe up mid, maybe even pressuring B main right now. These 5-man plays, like, you're just so full committed to the site, you have no map control. There could be someone hard pushed up mid right now. There could be someone hard pushed into your spawn like Sammy's doing right now.
Yeah, now this is a force buy. We saw the Blainstorm already come out. We see Sammy push up, as you say, and finds the headshot. There's 20 HP. Sadinsky will trade that up, but already that's so much information worst gained as well. And now they have to react to what they think the enemy team might know. They choose B. Now with the Killjoy gone, that's actually a nice choice because they know that all this Killjoy utility was set up there, and they pause before heading into the site. Kamugi waiting with the Bladestorm.
Doing a burst play again. Coming through. Bladestorm through the dark cover. Could be massive. Already on through. Looking to find out.
Coming through. D-Bands with the trade, but it's Jason Ivan backside. Demetrius takes care of that. 3 versus 2 still. It's a 2-person retake on the round. Crimson needs his headshot and Ree finds them both. That's why you leave a player near B main, because you can get them on the entry in. So there we go. Washington State up against a force buy, it has to be said, you know. But at the same time, it was more of a half buy, because you can see Sacramento going for the buy now. They pick up those rifles, and it's going to be, once again, like, Washington State's economy has been booming all half long here. You know, we got the last round, and look at the money that they've still managed to gather. Haven't been going for the op at all, with Loafmain happy to stick on that Vandal. And yeah, we see, like you say, a lot of these kind of 5-man hits. Not a lot of balance, not a lot of depth to their hits, but they're winning enough gunfights to make them work.
And here's what Demetrius like, okay, they pushed out B main last time, I'm gonna try and contain it. I believe, I was gonna say, what I want them to do is kind of play, this is one of the rounds where you play heavy towards trying to get an ulti of either B main or A main, because you have one off lockdown, right? And lockdown basically, I mean, you've seen it time and time again for the B hits, just lock down, clear them off B, push in, right? So that would be something I would expect to see from them. I don't know if they got it or not, but it's going to be Loafmain again, trying to overpeak their, no flash to come in. They don't have like a KO or a Sky or anything like that. No, not even a recon dart, nothing. They're just kind of pushing, and sometimes they win that, sometimes they don't, you know. And
yeah, Loafmain just, you know, trying to contact, and yeah, I really, you know, they've got things like the Paranoia available. You'd almost want to see it, but here comes the lockdown again in this position towards B. So that's going to give them access, but the spike is far behind. So this travel time from Ree does give the defenders an opportunity to try to get into position here. Dinsky has to take out that bot. Plant's coming through, and Dinsky is in this position with Demetrius. Dinsky trades Sammy out. It's a 4 versus 3 situation with Washington State stuck on site once again, and there's Kamugi going for 3, going for 4. That is Kamugi with incredible gunplay coming in on that retake, and Sacramento get to 5 for the last round of the half.
And I was going to say that for Demetrius. I was like, I want to see combo plays with utility, especially on attack. Yeah. That's one of the biggest reasons how you're going to get into places. Where's, like, okay, so we think they might be exacting, Demetrius is calling guys that might be exacting out of market, right? Where's my Paranoia market into the Demetrius pick, right? Like, where's, like, my reactive utility? Where's my aggressive utility? Loafmain just kind of walking up catwalk, trying to take tree by themselves, and then, bam. What happens? Well, they get caught out. They don't have any utility as that jet. There could have been a paranoia there. There could even be a leer there. Two man up cat, leer through. Then you have the jet peak because it's faster than the Rainer jumping out themselves. Bam. There's some plays I can have. I'm not seeing that yet, and
Yeah.
that scares me. That scares me honestly in terms of like potentially how the defensive looks because some parts of defense like retaking map control is going to have to be with those utility combos.
Yeah, and Sacramento, remember, picked into Ascent, played very well on it up against St. John's. So you've got to imagine they've got something up their sleeve on the attack side. They won 13-7 on this map earlier today. Kamugi pushing up aggressively gives Demetrius a taste of their own medicine right there. But Demetrius did find a nice little ghost headshot peeking out of the cat position. So we get into a 4 versus 4 situation and they regroup. It's going to be the market push here.
We're gonna keep seeing these kind of wanders out onto cat, or maybe wanders out mid. Like those are plays. Are we gonna keep seeing them? That's gonna be something that
Yeah.
Sacramento has to keep their eyes on here. As right now, it's gonna be how do they make their way onto this A site? Seems like that's where they're trying to end up here. Only the killjoy in mid. That's what I kind of like. You having someone with behind, someone that doesn't have kind of the aggressive utility, more the defensive utility. And oh, not gonna find it there. Gonna get shut down. This A site might not be as easy to take as they thought.
We love to see that from Dinsky. So good on the jet last map, but Loafmane wants to answer back. There's Kamugi going down, going far into the site as D-Bands heads in there as well. Sammy is behind this door trying to break it off. Goes for one headshot. Oh, I love the idea from D-Bands or from Sammy. You know, some nice shooting there, but only gets the dink. Doesn't manage to grab anything more. So Washington State do get actually quite a convincing pistol round in the end there. It was all, just Kamugi kind of coming in with one silver lining. So Sacramento State fall in the pistol round on their own map pick. They fall to pistols. They're not going to force up. No plant was even had, so there's no real chance of it at all. This bonus is looking a lot better than some of the other ones we've seen today, and Washington State looks to go to 9-5 pretty easily here.
But do they kind of allow multiple picks to come through next round? They're like stuck on sheriffs, right? You want to have this marshal next round. You want to have these specters next round. But you can maybe contest out the vandals and the phantoms, right? Yeah. But if they get taken out here, it might just be the case with Loafmane. Some fancy footwork and some nice shooting does secure themselves 2 kills. They're gonna be backing up with the help of that nano swarm, and they're gonna be safe. But over there, oh, the turnaround with the right click isn't there. That's not the classic of old. That is the new classic, not nearly as consistent.
Crimson wants him to keep it in the game, and it's not happening for him right now as Ree completes the flawless round. For some reason, there's the way those picks were looking, the way those peaks were looking, kind of ended up looking like it was a little bit of a closer round than it actually was. But they ended with the flawless 9-5, hanging on to these SMGs and Marshals for the next round.
Yeah, it's actually going to be buying up on Dinsky, surprisingly. They're going to be getting that Phantom in their hands. Obviously, moving on with the duelist role over the silver role for this map, and I mean, it kind of makes sense for them to have the Phantom. Maybe it's their best aimer, maybe they're most confident on that. Some teams also like to just put it on key characters they need. Silver really needs, we really want their info utility this round, so we're gonna give them the rifle to make them most safe,
Yeah, for sure. Here comes the entry onto A, and it's a full rush. Sacramento State already has found a pick here. 3 has gone down. The pistols so far are, or the rifles so far are doing their work. Jason Ive has gotten the spike down, and so it's a 5 versus 4 situation as they all back out into A main, except for Kamugi left alone on site, trying to do as much damage as possible, trying to be a nuisance to those retakers. And yeah, with Kamugi tucked into this position with all these players out in main, it looks like such a difficult retake right now as Washington State just decide exactly what they're going to be doing here. Demetrius goes in and is instantly beheaded by Sammy. There's Kamugi. 1 kill was all he needed. He's going down to D-Bands, whose position is revealed, but still gets the nice flick around to Sammy. Tries to go around and picks up a gun. Jason Hive finds that kill, and it's going to be Sacramento State winning against the bonus and getting up to 6 rounds.
Yeah, and Washington keeps that Phantom. That's why that Silva is going to be alive. Going to be holding on to that 2,900 credits for this next round. And I think that was a really nice exec there from Sacramento. They find the recon dart, they find the Omen, they're pressuring them out, don't even have the ability to dark step away. They're just gone. They're just get mowed down there. And The post plant was pretty well played. They have the 4-1 split, and that's pretty common on this map. Sometimes the 2-3 split. And what I mean is like 3 players playing main, and then
Yeah,
two
two
playing
inside. Yeah.
hell. Yeah, 2 playing hell. Very common on a post plant on ascent. So nothing out of ordinary there, but just well played. And we're gonna see if we can continue that. It's gonna be Loafbane trying to get a cheeky pick here in mid. Looks like they can find it. Yep.
There we go. Kamuki goes down, and Demetrius punishes their attempt to trade. That's lovely from Washington State as Ree gets aggressive and takes down Crimson. 5 versus 2 now already, with Jason Ive about to face into the blind here from Demetrius, but Jason's close enough that this blind will not do what Demetrius is hoping it will. There it comes, gonna peek out, gonna get the kill. That's Jason Ive with very, very nice patience, putting them into the 2 versus 4 situation for Sacramento State. The spike is over towards mid, and Jason Ive still holds on Cat.
As a recon Zard, if they really want to throw it through that dark cover, second one actually going to be committed there on the Cat. And a little bit of a lockdown right here. They want to secure this 4v2. The Killjoy is playing so far off B side, is just relying on contact from turret to pop utility, and obviously the alarm bot there. It's a very classic setup. Sidewalk is just covered by a nano swarm behind and before.
30 seconds
alarm
left.
bot just basically makes it vulnerable, and then they're taking damage from both sides. They have to fast commit to sight. Very classic setup there. That's why the Killjoy can play so back up, and why Loafbane has this angle.
Yeah, easy for Loafbane right there. They just walk out into his crosshair. So yeah, great setup as you say. Washington State make the best of that situation. 4 versus 2 victory for them, and they end up with 10 rounds here with Demetrius still topping the scoreboard and still, you know, looking to, like, clearly it's a comfort pick, you know, we can definitely say that at this point. And in this situation, I'm starting to sort of come around to the Reyna pick a little bit worse. I hate to betray our pregame analysis, but Demetrius is clearly very comfortable on this age.
I think I've seen this in many a game, many an esport where it's like, oh, this pick is working, guys. It's like, this is like the 10% upside to like the 90% downside, right? Like,
all right.
We're having plays where like this Reyna's just solo peeking things and sometimes winning it, sometimes losing it. So like some rounds we just had it where both your duels are just killing 2 at the beginning of the round. Like the round's over at that point. Not much you can do. So that's the upside. But like if they were getting hard contested, by like duels, like you'd be seeing a very different story, and you'd be like, man, this is just not working out. They need something to help them break into places, but right now it's just the aim diff is all they really need.
You're right, of course, definitely. You know, we were on to something when we said there could be better picks out there, but still, Demetrius with an impressive performance so far.
Yeah, really good
on this map. And Washington State are holding strong on A, still keeping 3 there. You see the lurker Killjoy remaining for the attackers as the rotation comes over to B, where they will once again run into a bunch of Killjoy utility here. Sammy gonna peek out, and actually Sammy's presence is keeping these players, but D-Band finds an absolutely random headshot as well, finds utility damage onto Crimson, so that's 2 kills for D-Band, completely shutting down this rotation. Sammy did so well to keep 3 players focused on A, but all you needed was D-Bands as Dinsky walks out, and this B hit has completely crumbled. A nice shot by Jason Ive, but D-Bands ended up with 4 kills in that round, and man, Washington State just absolutely on D-Bands' back for that round there. I mean, yeah, I was so ready to say they're hitting against 2 players because of the work of Sammy, but then D-Bands goes and does that.
I mean, that's kind of the setup right there, right? You have Crimson run through, thinks, okay, they got the kill, I'm through to get in. Alarm bot, vulnerable, double to swamp, I'm dead! Wow, that's crazy. But that's why you have to commit a shock dart or a knife. You can commit a knife there as well.
Yes,
something to clear the utility, because you have to respect it. That's why that site is able to get anchored by 1 Sentinel. It used to be Cypher, now it's Killjoy. Like it changes depending on what Sentinel is meta, but for Killjoy on this map, you have to be respecting the utility. It's been the same setup every single round. Shock dart it, knife it, something if you're gonna do these pushes, because it has to see. There's one, I think that was a shock dart or something. Takes out one of them.
Yeah,
so,
the instant reaction coming through. They're like, oh, we're not running into this anymore. You saw at least one of them was taken down, but the kill from Loafmane's already gonna start slowing them down. He is way up close here, walking through the nebula. Loafbane walking in here and gonna get right-clicked. Loafbane goes down. It's going to be a 4 versus 4, and I think it will allow the plant to come through. Yes, it will indeed. Dinsky does take down Kamugi, and they're on a save. So all they did, that they only did that for the plant here, but they don't want to get themselves in up against match point right now. So Sacramento State with the 3 versus 4 hold, and they the counter lockdown just for Washington State to get all the way here. That's going to be 2 agents suppressed right now. No breaking, and Uzui needs to find something here. Hang on, Dimitri is so close, but trades coming back and forth. D-Bands gets one, and Washington State do end up getting through. So kind of a chaotic round in the end there.
Yeah, and I mean that's just rough having to eco into 12th round here for Washington State. That never feels good. Now you're playing to go to overtime, and that's just like that's a slog, right? Get to overtime and then win overtime. You still have so many rounds to go, so it's mentally very draining to have to be put in that situation. But in the situation, nonetheless, they are. So what is their response? Like, what are they going to be doing here to try and set things up? I think play it slower. I think they're committing far too early to a site without getting util out. I think this is one of the biggest mistakes I've seen in the previous prelim 1 for this power series. It was teams playing way too fast. You can slow things down, play defaults. You can try to get out utility on parts of the map and then rotate your players accordingly. Just play the info game. Valorant is a very information-based game.
Yeah, absolutely. And there we go. Already clearing one out of Wine. The trade comes through and they take control of A, but the player got so much info there, peeking and seeing an entire stack of players who will head onto the A site quickly. Trusting this setup. Loafbane grabs one on the way out, but Crimsy does take out Dinsky, so it's going to be the collapse. 3 versus 3 retake situation, and there's Loafbane going way up in the sky to take down Kamugi. That's going to give Washington State a much-needed advantage coming through, but Crimson and Sammyites are back! Lightning fast, and that's going to be Sacramento staying in this game at least one more round.
Yep, at least one more round, and now it's the gauntlet. It is time, man. It is time for the absolute marathon that's going to be happening to win out this match here for Sacramento. If they want to take this map, it is going to be an absolutely brutal one. But the first step on the way. They have they have kind of the tools now. They know what they want to do. But again, I think slowing things down is the most important part. Playing an info game, especially against a team where you're going to get recon darts out, you're going to be getting out layers and such, even maybe a paranoia or dark covers, like those things, like getting those out, like now they have everything for this retake. They're going to have everything available for them to defend the site.
Especially if they get kills on the way in. There's actually shock dart kills coming through. I don't know where that shock dart kill ended up going to, but it's going to be Ree still staying in the back site, and Ree getting so many kills, so much value out of this. It's Kamugi to keep Sacramento State alive against 2. The fake plant, 52 HP is remaining, and the shock dart gets the finishing kill. It's going to be Washington State running it back against Sacramento, beating them 13-7 on their home map. And that is very impressive from Washington State, who are now 1-1 on the day.
Yeah, and it was kind of an attempt to get back into it, but was kind of it felt weird because it felt like on their attack, especially for Washington State, it felt like they were just getting map control. They were sort of just getting areas of the map that they didn't really like earn through utility usage or setup plays. It was kind of just like, oh hey, the Rain and Jet just walked up and killed 5 people.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Especially Demetrius there. Some rounds just getting 4 people. That's like the biggest part of the Reina. And to address my earlier point of like, oh, it's not the most optimal pick. That's not always the case in collegiate and even in just like games in general. It's like you don't have to be playing the most optimal thing 24/7 if your players are more comfortable in other areas. And if they're more comfortable in Reina, that makes more sense. But still, I mean, there has to be some kind of util setup to get like such a cat. I'm like, please, paranoia, something.
There's only so many of those rounds that can go your way. We will take a quick break, but we are going to be back with a rematch of St. John's versus Washington State right after this. Don't go anywhere.